Hey guys, I wanted to welcome y'all to what's going to be the first episode of my new Let's Play, which is going to be a Let's Play of Skyrim. And first off, I want to apologize for the long hiatus again. I'm struggling a bit with deciding on what I'm going to do with the Dark Souls series because in the end, I think I don't actually have enough to really talk about during it to do as thorough a Let's Play as I wanted. So I'm either going to be postponing it indefinitely or just doing a more bare bones playthrough of the game. So that way I don't have to talk and fill space for like an hour at a time when I don't think I can. Instead, I decided that I want to play The Elder Scrolls Skyrim because it's a much more casual game that's going to give me the opportunity to just chill out, talk more, have fun, and because it'll kind of enforce me to actually play through Skyrim for once, because I've played this game a ton of times and never really been able to finish it and see everything I wanted, because I get distracted by other things, and hopefully a Let's Play series is going to kind of coerce me to do so. Now, this is going to be a modded Let's Play, and I have quite a few mods here, too many to mention in the video itself, so in the description I'll probably just post a link to my load order so you can see for yourself what I'm running. But the gist of it is that I'm running a bunch of overhauls, things like perks, Ordinator, as well as things like I need for food and water, resting, Hunterborn, stuff like that. Generally things that kind of immerse you in the gameplay and make them more quote-unquote realistic, and just add some challenge and emergent gameplay to the game itself. This is also going to be a roleplay series, because whenever I play the Elder Scrolls games, I like to kind of set up a character with a goal, and the baseline goal I have for this series itself is going to be finally getting around to playing through the fantastic Undeath mod, where you become a lich and go through the process of lichdom itself. And I've been wanting to do that for a couple years now, really, but I have never gotten far enough. You need to be level 30 to start the quest, and I was hoping this would be a good chance for me to do that. As you can see, first off, this is not the vanilla beginning of Skyrim. I'm using Arthmore's alternate start to begin my character's story here. You can see we are... Well, I could take this hood off, actually. Get a good shot here. We are a Nord, and I chose the start in Rorikstead, where you are a farm owner in the middle of the Whiterun hold of Skyrim. I thought this would be a good start because it gives me a nice base of operations for me to set out from quests, as well as it fits the story I'm going for. And what I have come up with here is that our character, as I said, is a Nord, and you might be thinking that Nords and magic don't really mix, which is true. So I wanted to kind of give him a reason to pursue the eventual goal of becoming a lich. And that goal, what I've decided on is, let me pull up our name here. Our name is a little odd, if you'll notice. First name is Arctus, last name Wulfson. So what I'm going for here is we are playing a future, very far down the line, descendant of the legendary Atmoran Nord, Ysmir Wulfharth, who is an extremely important character in the Elder Scrolls lore. Our first name is based off of his at one point contemporary Imperial battlemage Zurin Arctus. So the gist of what I've got going here is we are the descendant of a family who's spent a lot of time either accurately or inaccurately believing themselves to be descendants of this legendary Nord hero, who has also been rumored to have a big part in the creation of the Empire god Talos, with the the battlemage Zurin Arctus. Now, I'm getting a little worried while trying to talk here because I am noticing there is a dragon call, which is not normal because theoretically, when you start the game, dragons aren't supposed to spawn yet, which means some mod I have has activated a dragon in this area by default. So we're going to start leading. Already we've found some bandits here.
Let your belly like an old woman's purse.
Now, I apologize if the frame rate ever gets a little choppy in this game. I've got quite a few graphic mods set up, and the outside areas of Skyrim are always kind of nasty for things like that. But within interiors and maybe cities, it should be pretty stable. So bear with me for that. And apologies for the little distraction from this group of bandits here. Like I was saying, there seems to be a dragon near our home, which is just awful to start off with, and we're going to immediately get out of here. Not without grabbing some nice loot here. So, basically, our character doesn't know that his eventual role is going to be as a lich, but what we have is a character whose family has been fascinated with the concept of immortality, of spirits, of things like that for a long time, due to the nature of Ysmir's soul as well as his associations with the god Talos. So our character grew up with a very odd fascination for magic of the darker kind for a Nord. But currently, all we've got so far is, basically, we run a farm, we're not terribly happy with it, and our goal right now is that we've been told by our farmhands, as well as people from the nearby settlement of Rorikstead, there has been some dark magic sightings north in an area called the Moldering Ruins, I believe, and we are taking it upon ourselves to investigate that. The first step for that is going to be gearing up, because as a farmer, we're not terribly equipped for that kind of thing yet. So we're making a journey to Whiterun, which we are not going in a good path for here. In fact, we will be just fast traveling back to the farm. Fast travel is going to be something I'm not going to utilize a ton, because it's a great time to just talk about things while traveling, but I will use it for paths that our character will be intimately familiar with and that really just save us some time and effort. So here was my mistake. I went left instead of right. So as you just saw with the mod I need, we will be needing to stop for food and drink and rest at certain points, which some people find tedious, but I think makes a
Need something?
A nice little immersive aspect that makes food actually valuable. I'm not familiar with this character here who passed, but I'll let them go on their way as we have a goal. So, for the most part, this is going to be just a relatively casual, emergent playthrough. I'll talk about just what I'm thinking about at any given moment, as well as what I know of Elder Scrolls lore, which isn't extensive, but I'm familiar to some degree with it, as well as just talking about Skyrim in general, which I quite enjoy as a game. Our character is quite thirsty. That's what that message that keeps popping up in the top left is. So it'd be nice to actually find a little spring, and there's that dragon we've been hearing. So we won't try and find a spring in that direction. Now, like I said, I really enjoy Skyrim as a game, but I've had a struggling history with it. When it initially came out in 2011, I was quite disappointed. I was a big fan of the Elder Scrolls series. I started with Morrowind way back in the day, played Oblivion.
All right, hand over your valuables, or I'll gut you like a fish.
We've been ambushed. Now, our character is going to be not necessarily overconfident, but you know, he's a farmer. This is his territory. I don't think he's going to be scared of a thief here.
Nice try, but you don't scare me. I'm not gonna ask again.
So we're not just going to give away what we have.
Then I guess that's your last request. Enough.
And that was a bit close for comfort, actually. This guy's a little tough. But it ended up working out in the long run for us. Like I was saying, I was a little disappointed in Skyrim when it came out, but I've come around to it a lot in the time since then. A lot of that has not been because of mods, but they certainly eased the experience. I think Bethesda created a really awesome platform for role-playing in Skyrim, even if they kind of quote-unquote dumbed down the role-playing mechanics themselves. I feel the same way about Fallout 4. These games really shine when you can kind of mod in the things that you want to see, because the world and mechanics they've set up in them are so good at the baseline level. They really made them primarily good games rather than good role-playing experiences.
What's a milk drinker like you doing out here? Go home to your mother. Why? What are you gonna do? Cry?
There are a lot of hostile people out here. Now, my character is a Nord, so there is a good chance he'd be a little more comfortable around Nords. They're not known for being fans of Argonians in the first place. So I don't think we're going to try and fight this lady.
Gods, you're boring.
But she wants to fight. And we are going to... Looks like we're going to have a little more trouble than we're used to. Okay. Well, luckily for us, she was as quick to give up as she was to aggressively attack us, so that's nice. Our character is seeing a lot of action on the clean road to Whiterun here, which is a nice, fun little thing about mods. Usually it'd be a lot more plain and boring on the main roads, but in a lot of ways, I kind of hope for that. Now, other goals I'm going to have for this character. So he's going to slowly immerse himself in magic due to an interest in it. I'm hoping that when we head over to the Moldering Ruins, we will get to experience some dark magic in person. We probably won't be strong enough to clear it, but it will kind of set us off on the path to find a teacher for things like conjuration, some destruction. Besides that, I'm hoping to convene with a few Daedric princes, because those quests are fantastically done and always a great time, and it makes sense for a character fascinated with dark magic to try and gain favor with deities that are viewed as more evil within the universe. We still have quite a ways to go to Whiterun, actually. You'll probably see me pretty frequently check my status with I Need here, just to see how my character's doing. I unfortunately didn't think it through on the way here and didn't bring any spare food other than what I spawned with, and more importantly, some water. So we are not hungry, we're rested, but we're quite thirsty right now. I guess we can drink a mead here, but it's not doing much for us. It'd be nice to find a little stream, which we can actually go right down here and get a drink from. I do have the drinking feature of I need set to automate because thirst goes down relatively quickly. And it would be a pain to constantly have to go into my menu and drink. With some Imperial soldiers. I'm not sure how our character would feel about the Civil War yet, but being a rural Nordic farmer, they would likely side more with the Stormcloaks with the Emperor.
Walk away now.
This doesn't concern you, citizen.
Though, on the other hand, with his long imprinted fascination with the founder of the Empire, Talos, Tiber Septim, and his allies, which includes his quote-unquote ancestor, Ysmir here, he might actually sympathize with the Empire and feel a sense of kinship with it, if not with the Imperials themselves. So this should fill our water skin, but it does not appear to want to. That was a little message from the mod Frostfall there, which has to do with wetness and temperature, so jumping in water like that isn't going to be very good for us.
It's not like there's enough for
This guy doesn't want to sell us anything either. So I'm not sure exactly why I can't drink from this stream, but we will try and just make it to Whiterun before our character dies of thirst, hopefully. Now, besides magic, Daedric princes, we're definitely going to want to do Dragonborn, which I've never actually gone through. I'm witnessing a fight here between a Thalmor agent and a Stormcloak, yeah. Which is great for us, because our character is very happy to scavenge some gear from this. I think he would have no qualms with that. Especially if it's useful things like armor and weaponry. I don't think I'm going to go ahead and equip the armor out in the wilderness because that's a little silly to think about. But the weapon, maybe. What did we pick up? A war axe. So far, I'm thinking that one-handed is going to be the weapon skill we roll with. For a couple of reasons. I enjoy a lot of the one-handed weapons, especially the blunt ones, including some of the things I've modded in. I have a mod called Heavy Armory, I believe, that adds rounds out the weapon selection with a few nice things like mauls and clubs, as you saw a club from the Weapons of the Third Era mod there that my character started with. But as well, besides just enjoying the playstyle, it's going to give us an opportunity to have a spell in our left hand, or our right hand. We've got a very scary looking giant, alternate giant spawn there that our character is not going to be keen to mess around with. Come to think of it, I also picked up these skeever carcasses that I'm going to drop here. Because just out of habit I looted them, but what Hunterborn does is it makes it so that you have to actually dress and clean your kills to harvest them, but you can pick up the corpses to bring them with you to do that in a more safe area. But our character is not a hunter. A saber cat has just been able to destroy us, so that's pretty scary. This is a good time to talk about anytime my character dies or something like that. I'll either just maybe try harder on what I'm doing, or possibly just rethink the path if I'm not strong enough yet. But we'll just consider it as, you know, times rolled back, as silly as that sounds. Because with a lot of the difficulties, well, I don't really have any difficulty mods set up in Skyrim, but a lot of the things I have just add the difficulty on their own, either intentionally or not. Things like combat overhauls, creature mods. I'm just trying to get some water here. I cannot seem to fill this up. That's fine. We should... we're still only moderately thirsty. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to run this episode. I know a lot of people don't care for longer episodes, but I feel like a Let's Play like Skyrim is more suited to them than something like Dark Souls, where there's punctuated moments of actual interesting things within the game, and Skyrim doesn't really have that so much. It's more about the experience itself. So I'll probably stick with around an hour long, things like that. I don't think I'm going to bother with timestamps for these. Because there isn't much really for me to timestamp. Like, 10 minutes in, I fight a spider. Doesn't do a whole lot for anyone, I would assume. But I'm not sure exactly how long I'm going to run this one today. This is mostly meant to be an introductory episode. Just to let y'all know what was going on, what was up with me, what's going to go on with the Dark Souls series. So I'll introduce you to our Skyrim character. Who are these guys? Some Redguard warriors, some Elakir. I thought they might have been mad at me because of the combat music, but I guess there was something else around. That's another big thing about playing Skyrim modded. I do not know how many of these mods are going to interact in the long run. I was playing a different character with the setup I have going for about 15 levels prior to this, and I didn't have many issues. But you never know when some kind of conflict's going to pop up, so whenever that happens, please bear with me. Things like crashes, I'll probably just pull the game back up and resume off where we were. But anytime something like that happens, I'll just do the best I can to fix it, but no real promises, because Skyrim can be very fickle when you have it modded to hell and back like this. So it looks like we've finally been able to make it to Whiterun after multiple interruptions along the way. And our character is going to be here to buy some gear, probably some supplies, and then head off to take care of this nefarious presence in our area. I probably won't be able to get to that today. We'll probably gear up, explore Whiterun, and then make the way back to our farm for today's episode. Because I'm going to want to prepare, I'm going to want to make sure I know where the ruins themselves are. I'm going to try to make an effort not to do things like alt-tab too much during the Let's Play, because when I play Skyrim myself, I'm constantly alt-tabbing out, looking things up, to add to the experience for myself. And that just makes for a lot of dead air, which isn't terribly entertaining for you guys, so I'm going to do my best to prepare beforehand. First things first, in Whiterun here, we're going to drop a save.
We'll pay whatever it takes, but we must have more swords for the Imperial soldiers.
I just can't.
Our character's not going to be terribly interested in soldiers trying to get swords. What we are looking for is some water to drink. And luckily for us, there's a well right here. And great thing that the locals of Whiterun don't actually mind us drinking straight from their well as we show up, but that's convenient. So now we're not thirsty, we're not terribly tired or hungry, so we're going to head on over to where we heard about weapons being sold. I do have a children's look mod here that I'm not a big fan of. Makes them look a little too clean, a little too pristine, but the kids in base Skyrim are horrifically ugly.
Let me know.
I have a much more subtle, lore-appropriate character mod on, but unfortunately I haven't been able to find anything like that for the kids yet. And they won't play a huge part in our Let's Play for a while, at least. Maybe we'll adopt a kid in the future, but witches don't make the best parents, from what I've heard.
Welcome to War Maidens. Now don't... Blades, helmets,
So, like I said, we're going to be sticking with one-handed. I'm going to think our character is going to be partial to something like axes or maces because he is a farmer. They're much more simple implements. Unfortunately, this mace is a little bit out of our price range. We could sell our hunting bow that we've scavenged, a battle axe, our wooden club, as well as some hide armor here. So we picked up scaled armor, almost a full set. And that's probably what we'll be rocking here.
Good doing business with you.
So it looks as if our run to Whiterun itself was all we needed to actually acquire the armor and weapons we're going to use. I'd like to find a nice little place to change into this, though. So maybe we'll rent out a room for the night.
If it's work you're looking for, Hulda's the one to talk to.
You want anything? Think if it's work you need. Drink for the thirsty.
So let's grab ourselves a meal for later. Another, like, fun little thing I like about I Need is, in addition to making food useful, it's fun to roleplay what your character is actually going to eat, giving them a nice meal. So while we're in Whiterun, let's do it up. Let's have an apple pie. Let's have some baked potatoes. And let's have a salmon steak. That seems like something our character wouldn't get much of a chance to eat usually.
I enjoy this work well enough. Sure thing, it's yours for a day.
Oh, and I apologize for skipping dialogue so much. That's extreme habit. But for things that I'm not super familiar with, I probably will let the characters talk. Like things like just, here, I've rented you a room dialogue. It's fairly easy to just skip. Excuse me. So this looks to be our room.
Thank you, good patrons of the bannered mare. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we have a front row seat to
Let me know if
the
there's
local
anything
bard
else you
here, who isn't a great guy, as anyone who's played Skyrim knows. He's a little pushy, his affections. So now that we're here, our character is going to try out this armor he picked up. Excuse me, let me unequip that ring. That's part of a werewolf mod.
Oh, say yes.
It's how you access the settings. Looks really good here, our armor. In fact, that's quite strong armor, I think, for the point of the game we're in. I think high would be much weaker.
Of course.
So our character is going to sleep the night. We'll wake up, we'll have a meal, set back on the road to Rorikstead, and see if we can have any more fun on the way there. So we are well sated. I did that in the wrong order there. I should have eaten the salmon last. I believe he gave a stamina boost. But one of the cooking mods I'm using makes it so that you need to... You only get one food buff per food. You can't stack them. So I should pay attention to that. Because I won't be able to just get every buff from the food I eat. So I think we have a magicka buff right now, which isn't terribly useful at the point of the game we're in. I don't believe we have many spells here. We have a flame spell and a heal spell. And you know what? I think we will equip that. Let's say our character has picked up a few very basic spell tomes in his time and fiddled with them quietly in the room of his farmhouse, where his farmhands wouldn't hear or see, because they probably would frown upon that. But Arctus here can't help his fascination with magic. He's heard the stories of his ancestor Ysmir, of his spirits assisting Hjalti Earlybeard, who became Tiber Septim, associating with the battlemage Zurin Arctus, becoming the Underking, things like that. He's read up on the Arcturian heresy, and is quite familiar with the founding of the Empire, because his family has always enforced that they are the heirs to that. Despite being relatively modest farmers in the country. Thanks for the help, buddy. I had no idea where that enemy was because he was so small. And we're going to get back on the road so we don't face too much trouble here. But like I was saying, our character feels some sense of grandeur, of kind of being shafted, ultimately, because he supposedly descends from one of the most important heroes in Tamrielic history, and really has little to show for that other than a tiny farm in the middle of Skyrim. Now that I think about it, this is a great time for him to try out some actual practical magic that he never gets a chance to use. He wouldn't be terribly concerned with looting things like spiders. Alchemy is probably something we'll get into as we study magic and learn about it. Now, I don't think our character is going to be terribly, quite frankly, racist, as many Nords are. They don't tend to care for many other races. But he will have a sense of Nordic pride, as well as, I guess you could call it, xenophobia. He doesn't want to lose what he has. In fact, he feels like he deserves more than he has, as I said before. So he's not going to be outwardly antagonistic to races like Dunmer, Khajiiti, Argonians, who many Nords don't like, but he's not going to be super friendly to them. We'll just get some cordiality, probably. Like I said earlier, he'll probably be nicer to Nords as he was with trying to avoid fighting his fellow Nord on the road earlier. And I will be dropping saves very frequently, as anyone who plays modded Skyrim should, because you don't want to lose much progress. My skeevers from earlier. And one good tip, if you're playing yourself, is that you should always do as I'm doing here and just create new saves. Don't save over them. That way, if you ever encounter a conflict, if you install a mod mid-playthrough, you can always roll it back. Or if you just make a mistake in your playthrough here. Well, if y'all will excuse me for a second, I'll be taking a drink in real life. Mouth is getting fairly dry there. But it's just a good idea to have a nice library of separate saves for you to work with in case anything goes wrong. Now this is something our character would be drawn to. He sees sparks in the distance flying. This is fascinating to him. A necromancer. This is perfect, actually. So we are gonna rewind here, because I didn't realize there would be necromancers right here. I don't think this is scripted. This is probably a some kind of event, but we'll say that this is where we were reported to see some dark magic activities. And fortunately for us, this lovely saber cat was able to take them out for us. I don't know if we would have been able to fight them at the level we're at. But from their corpses, we picked up some lovely books. Ngasta Kavada Kavakis and Necromancer's Moon, which are both books dealing with dark magic and necromancy in particular, I believe. Which is a great jumping off point for our character to actually get interested in dark magic. Start picking up some spells there. So we are set. I wanted to get a better look at this guy. This guy is horrifying. Man, some of the creature mods are really interesting. Like, what is this guy? I'm gonna hit him and find out. Fire giant. Oh god. So we have made a huge mistake. Not only is the fire giant mad at us, his friend is. And whenever I do something fun like that, I probably won't immediately reload. We'll see if we can get away with it. Our character is inquisitive, is probably going to be his main attribute. He has lived a very sheltered, boring life. He grew up as a farmhand to his father and mother. He helped out at the farm with them. He inherited the farm when they passed. And he's just very bored with it all, I would imagine. It's a safe, reliable living, for the most part, but it's not exciting. And this is what excitement gets you. Hey, help. Oh god. These Vigilants of Stendar were not very helpful. Our character would have loved to search those. And I'll try and stop saying that. I realize that's probably getting old. I would like to search those. But unfortunately, we are being chased by a fire giant, so that's not in the cards for us right now. Just fine. I don't want to get too strong too quickly. Imperials, help me. Oh, awesome. Now our character will, we will hide until this giant pisses off.
This is none of your concern, citizen. Move along.
Why is this guy mad at us? I believe this is, yeah, actually better than what we've got, so, we can rock that for a little while. Actually wanted to take a look at this Black Forest Goblin here. This is another one of the Beasts of Skyrim, I believe it's called. No, Skyrim Monster Mod editions, and they did a really good job what it looks like reskinning Falmer for this, maybe? Maybe they did this from the ground up.
Move along.
So where is the armor? Yeah, so our scaled armor is significantly better than Imperial's studded armor, which is really cool. I'm not sure what we're going to use here. I'm partial to blunt weapons, as I said. But it is weaker than the axe. But I think we're going to... Let's roll with this because it looks so cool. I'm actually quite tired of using the Forsworn axe because it pops up early in a lot of my playthroughs, so I end up using it because its stats are great. Either by default or with whatever mods I'm using. So we're going to look for something that's a little weaker, or we're going to go with something that's a little weaker, but different. Like, it looks really cool. They did a great job with the clubs. I think clubs are representative of the fastest one-handed blunt weapons, faster than maces, but weaker, as opposed to mauls, which are slower than maces, but stronger. So it's going to let us hit fairly quickly. And our character has gotten a lot of combat experience on this little journey, which is not something he's used to. He's had to fight off things like wolves, skeevers, maybe the occasional saber-tooth when they come to his farm. But he's not an adventurer yet, so this was a huge accomplishment for him. We have taken the wrong road. We come across something a little scary here. We will try and avoid. I was so distracted running from that giant that I wasn't paying attention where I was going. Just having another drink there. And I apologize for any dead air when I just stopped talking. But like I said, this is just meant to be a more casual, relaxed playthrough. Just to help me get comfortable with talking for extended periods of time. Because I was really struggling to fill space during my Dark Souls episodes. And it's not that I didn't have anything to say. This guy does not like us looting his fallen comrade, which is fair. It's not that I didn't have stuff to say, it's just that it's hard to play and think of it in the moment. Our character will pick that up. I'm hoping there's some spare food here. It does not... Oh, there's some. So yeah, our scaled horn armor here is fantastic for the point of the game we're in. It's a great pickup. I've found, I believe that's immersive armor has made it a lot easier to get strong stuff very early, which can kind of break the game, but it's also fun to get a little leg up when you're the weakest you're going to be. Because trust me, it gets harder quickly. Now this should be the path back to Rorikstead. And I will blame that on our character fleeing for his life from a fire giant. I did pick up a Nirnroot earlier, which I don't see why Arctus here would be terribly interested in it. That was just out of habit. But it is a glowing, noisy plant, so it might have been fascinating enough for him to grab and just bring back. It wasn't very far out of the way. So this is excellent. This means that we can then, when we next set off, go straight into looking for a magic teacher, and hopefully a dark magic teacher. We might have to journey all the way to the College of Winterhold, which would be a pain. It's a sacrificial cow here for a giant camp. It's weird that his handler is not around. I wonder if the dragon right over there killed him. Now that could be a problem because it is right near our house, but hopefully it just flies around its resting place there. I believe that's what this is. Actually, I probably will disable this mod because that's deadly bosses of Skyrim, I believe, and it's kind of a pain to deal with because it adds a ton of really strong spawns all over the world, and quite frankly, they're kind of peppered in with little consideration for fair placement. It's really a mod meant to be put in when you're already strong, high-leveled, and you want to challenge. So if I remember, I'm going to deactivate that next time so we don't have to deal with it, because it wouldn't make a lot of sense that the dragons have started spawning in the first place, let alone right next to our house. But like I said, oh my god, there's two of them. We will be heading to a magic teacher, maybe Winterhold, not Windrun. It's not even a city. Combining Whiterun with Windhelm. Might have to go enroll ourselves in the college, which would be a bit of a shame because I feel like our character wouldn't want the stigma of entering the college in the first place. It'd be nice to find a more subtle teacher, maybe somewhere up in Morthal. I believe there's a sorcerer. But we will find out. Right now our character is just very eager to get home, read his newfound books, maybe play around a little with his new weapon, practice some magic, and then eventually gather up the courage to venture out and finally satisfy the curiosity he's been dealing with for a long time. I believe this is our nice little farmhouse here. Now, I believe I read in the mod description we have these two farmhands. Yeah, this is our house. I believe we can collect income from them, which is another cool little thing about this. We'll have a nice little source of income as we're journeying. I'll give you guys a nice little view of the house because I didn't get a chance to do that while I was talking so much at the beginning. A couple of beds, quarters for the farmhands, a dummy. I do have a mod that makes this up our skill, I believe, actually. Yeah, so we'll actually get to do a level up in this episode, which is really cool. We'll go to our bed. Read our books here. And I won't actually read these in real time. I honestly looked through most of them anyway. But just to know that our character has been able to look through these. Now this one would make a lot of sense to him, obviously. It's written in slowed. But it would be very esoteric and fascinating, and I'm sure he'd want to learn how to read that. And we also just grabbed a copy of A Dance in Fire from that poor dead Khajiit in the road. That up. Do we have, yeah, a nice little chest for us to store our clothing in? As well as this necromancer's clothing that we're holding on to secretly. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be swapping out armor and clothing as I enter towns. That'd be a fun little thing to do. And I actually didn't see these. These were just part of the start. But they're some interesting little mods for me to have. an alchemy, or books for me to have, excuse me, an alchemy book here, Daedra, the Firmament, things like that, Legends. That's cool. Everything seems to be working out nicely for our story here. Actually, yeah, we will put our club up, and we will just swap out to our nice common clothes. So that's fun. We'll put away all our findings here. And I'm probably gonna call the episode here just after investing a perk point. Now, what choice we do here is not terribly important, but I'm gonna say that our character is gonna go with magic, because a lot of those skill points were from, well, one of them was for using destruction, but this is gonna be the primary interest here. And I'm probably going to go with this destruction perk, because that's what, in character, he's been studying. So this is just going to reduce our cost and give them scaling, which is nice, because I don't think base Skyrim spells have any kind of scaling, which is why magic can fall off so hard late game. So I'm going to call it here for today. Like I said, it's been really fun, and I hope you guys like the new series. I will be putting out the Road of Sacrifices episode of Dark Souls maybe tomorrow or the next day, and I'll decide then if I want to continue with like the frankly kind of tedious, very complete playthrough, or if I'm just going to go at my own pace and leave more room to actually have things to talk about without so much struggle there. But either way, I'll get that out to y'all as soon as possible. And it's been really fun, so I hope y'all have a good one, and thanks for watching.